Hello there. My name is Robinson Ario, and I speak to you from the oil-rich city of Warri in Delta State of Nigeria. I took a drive around the city and saw something that caught my attention, and that was a couple of billboards that were mounted by the People's Democratic Party to the effect that they intend to score 6/6. That means that they intend to win all contestable positions in the general election 2023. That made me think this is a political party that has ruled this state since inception. It has been in power for the past 20 years or so. Now, the posters are reminiscent of how selfish, how self centered that we all are as a people. Now, that does not exclude the opposition party because the major opposition party in Delta State, which is the APC, at the national level, we have a replica of such clinching, of such wanting to collect everything, of such self centeredness, of such high degree of selfishness without consideration. Now, I am compelled once more to take our minds back to the Holy Bible, where our Lord Jesus Christ was asked a question, which is the greatest of all the commandments? And he said, and I quote, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and above all, love your neighbor as yourself." End of quote. Now, you may say you are not a believer in the Bible, but there are a lot of other secular incentives for you to look at this strong injunction. If you look at the JCs, for example, JCs International, you have such lines in their motto as the brotherhood of man transcends the sovereignty of nations. And when you come to Rotary, you have such questions as, is it fair to all concerned? Will it build friendship? And the other two very cardinal questions that point to the same issue. What this tells us is that a consideration for one another is paramount, is an inalienable component of humanity. Now, if we see ourselves as belonging to the same race, if we view ourselves as human beings in whose veins the same blood runs, whether you be white, whether you be black, whether you be hybrid, whether you be tall, whether you be short, whether you be fat, whether you be slim. Now, the importance of all that I've said in the past 3 minutes is that unless we start empathizing with each other, unless we start putting ourselves in each other's shoes, no matter what we think the outcome of 2023 general election will be, we will stagnate, if not retrogress. The point is, we don't think much of each other. If we did, then it will not be difficult for PDP to be in power in Delta State and be able to identify some individuals in other political parties that will be found fit and proper to help build Delta State. Also, it will not be impossible for the APC to be in power at the national level and still pick individuals from other parties to help build the nation. Not until we start seeing ourselves as a cartel of people with the repository of the skills and requirements to build this nation, we will never be able to leverage on the endowments, human, material, and natural resources we are endowed with. Now, I am particularly disturbed because there is the impression that a group of one or two persons, a group of four, five, six, can just come and turn the entire country around. We need to first of all change our perspective of life. It is not enough to have the biggest Bible, to have the biggest Quran, or perhaps the biggest shrine. We need to go back to simplicity. If I were on the other side, would I like the kind of feelings? Would I like the kind of feelings those on the other side are having? Will I like the kind of treatment that we are meting to the other person? These are the questions we must ask. And that is why that injunction, love your neighbor as yourself, correctly understood, summarizes all the commandments, religious injunctions, and manuals for progress of any society. For if you do love your neighbor as yourself, you will not murder your neighbor, you will not hurt your neighbor, you will not cheat your neighbor, you will not steal from your neighbor. Every other negative vices you will not want to meet on your neighbor. It is well rightly said in philosophical circle, the hedonist school of thought, that man is a pleasure-seeking being and pain-avoiding being. We allow our actions to be driven by those hedonistic principles, seeking of pain, seeking of happiness, and the avoidance of pain. Seeking of pain is abnormal and cannot be a part of our life, except for those who are psychopaths. Therefore, let us look at every little thing we do. Look at every little power position that we have opportunity of occupying and how we manage them to ensure that if we were at the receiving end, we would only be happy when such that we are intending to do to others are done to us. So, bottom line, going back to that injunction, loving your neighbor as yourself. The brotherhood of man transcends the sovereignty of nations. Thank you.